wonder if I still look the same. I asked her to get 9 o'clock. I'm always early. Oh, I'm not ready for this. I've always been an optimistic, cheery type of person. I take after both my parents on this score. Saturday mornings, the 3 of us competed to see who could be the most bubbly, the most cheerful at the breakfast table. That's probably why my sister left home so young. She just couldn't stand the pressure. It began 9 months ago. No, of course it didn't. It began long before that. My mom had been a nurse in the slums in London, and my dad was a high school principal. The kind everyone visits years later with things like plastic ice cubes with bugs inside. Every Christmas we had refugees from the International Center sent over for turkey dinner. So when I told my parents I was going to work on an Indian reserve, they were positively bubbly. I guess they thought I was following in their footsteps. I remember that first day, barreling through space in that hollow hairspray can of a plane, the sound of 1,000 mosquitoes approaching my pillow in the dark. Hard, cold metal wing vibrating against my thigh, long pink and purple tubes of land forming, then breaking off into water, then land, more water, more wing. And in front of me, Ray, the pilot, lighting one flares after another, blowing lazy circles of smoke back towards my waiting nostrils. Did he know how sexy I thought he was? So, what's it like being king of the skies, Ray? Carrying the royal mail and life-giving medicines and on the lookout for red handkerchiefs and down planes and forest fires, and horny. Living out one's dreams. You must really love your work, Ray. No speed limits, no parking tickets, no Sunday drivers. What a flirt. Who, me? What brings me here? Oh, I've always been attracted to the north, like a firefly to light. No, never this far before. You ever hear of Camp Coconut? Bugger didn't answer me. Just turned the nose of the plane downward. Suddenly I'm on the salt and pepper shaker at the fair, giggling and grabbing onto my pocket so my money doesn't fall out. I was going down, down, downward into another place. Another time. Falling through a rabbit hole into a green and silver world below. I was Alice in Wonderland. Shall I fall right through the earth, splashing into a shower of diamonds and purple morning mist and water, bobbing up and down in a plane which had miraculously become a boat. No, Ray, I didn't mind. Rough? Was that rough? Hey, I love rough. Excitement, danger. Makes me feel like I really arrived. Really alive. And I had arrived. Nurse Rose had arrived. The metal door swung open and the sun blasted in. And there below me on the dock was a sea of brown faces, all looking up at me in my sling-back pumps and my seersucker dress. What made me suddenly feel that my heart would fall out, that I'd die on the spot, and also that I was the queen. But not for long. Holy Jesus, Mary, what the hell do we have here? He stood there inspecting me like a catfish hauled in off the bottom. Then he laughed. No, he snorted. Name's Ramsey, Miss Rose. Local free trader, skirt chaser, swindler, philosopher, and long-term survivor. Welcome to Snake Lake. The nursing station. That had such a nice ring to it, I thought. The nursing station, where the nurse was stationed. Where she was present and waiting for people in distress, in need of help. The first thing I did was unpack Mother and Grandmother. I knew their pictures. I set them up on the arborite desk, in their nursing caps and serene smiles, to guide me in my work at Snake Lake. Then I began plowing through Nurse Bunny's 8 months of medical records. I brought a couple of entries back to show Miss Jackson. March 10th. Jobit Loon died of a shaking fit, out on his trap line with a beaver in his mitt, and no toque on. The day was dark when they brought him in, his skin gray, his wife watching, her eyes a long way away. That's quite poetic, I think. Bunny did a lot of things like that, sketches, cartoons, and cigarette burns. Bunny was a chain smoker. And this, March 15th, Mooney's turtle died of exposure, frozen stiff like a chicken you take out of the freezer. Imagine someone even thinking anything like that. But Bunny did. And this, May 15th, entire bottom end of reserve has diarrhea. Toilet back up, closed early. That one always killed me, entire bottom end, toilet backed up. Then a series of closed earlies. Translation, hung over. But I only learned that later. Once Miss Jackson gets a better picture of this place, I don't really drink, but Nurse Bunny did. Lorraine McCain, one of the Snake Lake teachers, came by 10 minutes after I arrived in the trailer with a bottle of scotch and a bag of chocolate chip cookies, just to welcome the latest lamb to the slaughter. Immediately started telling tales out of school about Nurse Bunny, about what a good head she was, about how they had to take 2 cartons of Jack Daniels empties out of her trailer after she left. I'd been told that Snake Lake was a dry reserve. I thought that meant dry, no alcohol. When I mentioned that to Lorraine, she just gave me a sort of fishy look. Said I could be as dry as I wanted, or as wet. Would you like some herbal tea? I've got spicy apple, morning thunder, and sleepy time somewhere in my suitcase if I can only find it. I really said that. Yes, I did. Never touch the stuff, she said. Tugged down her bra, hauled herself up off the Chesterfield. Said she better let me get some sleepy time myself. And then was out the door with the bottle of scotch. Rough and tough Lorraine. What a character. But I felt sort of rough and tough myself, gutsy, ready for anything. I unpacked my suitcases, got my posters up on the wall, toothbrush in the little holder in the bathroom, shoes lined up in the closet, uniform pressed and ready for the morning. I remember I wandered from room to room, touching everything. And when I got a glimpse of myself in the bedroom mirror, I couldn't help smiling. No, grinning. It was like, hey, look at me. I've done it. I'm here, in the middle of an adventure. And then it was night. Black night. There were no streetlights. No big blue neon H from the hospital bathing my room with light till I cut it out with sleep. No strains of Lionel Richie coming through the flimsy residence walls. A gentle autumn breeze stirring the pines outside. And the drip, drop of the nylons I hung in the shower stall to dry. Were there animals out there in the darkness? Bears, wolves, moose? Were there Indians? My patients? Was there a world outside in the shadows waiting for me? Of course there was. But what was more important was what was going on inside me. I've heard women describe a feeling that comes over them right after giving childbirth, sort of humming. That's how I felt that first night lying in the darkness. Kind of a humming. I think it's really shitty to keep people waiting. I flew 800 miles to be here this morning and I'm 10 minutes early. Miss Jackson lives a couple of blocks away and already she's 10 minutes late. I guess she wants to keep me waiting. Well, I'm used to it. Probably won't do any good talking to her anyway. I tried once, but she wasn't amused. Might as well have been talking to a brick wall. To a wooden one. Indians. One night in the middle of winter, I wrote that word 400 times on my dining room tablecloth. My first patient was Lill. She came in with Mary Quantidens, the nurse's aide, Mary and her beautiful daughter Naomi. Camila and Naomi. My first patient and my last. Camila Lill's face was like a worn old leather purse without coins. And when she opened her mouth, soft little noises came out like coos from a dove. Her wooden leg was hurting her. Well, no wonder, Mrs. Loon. I have never seen such an old prosthesis. Well, we'll have to get you fitted for a new one. And while we're at it, how about a new set of false teeth? What's she looking at, Mary? Doesn't she understand what I'm saying? At orientation, Miss Jackson told us that Indians don't look into your eyes. And it's true. She was at least right about that. Camila Loon looked at the top button of my uniform like it had some mysterious power over her. And Mary Kay looked at my feet when I tried to shake hands with her. But it didn't bother me because it gave me time to study them. Mary and Naomi Quandivens, for God's sake. Loon, Moonias, At-Lookan, Quill, Maycoop. Names that hold laughter one bubble below the surface. Names out of the blue, out of the any old where. soft, velvety naves, like their eyes, which don't look into yours. Indians. Mary Quandivans is very fat, and her skin is very brown, and there's so much of it. And when she laughs, her whole body jiggles. She was laughing a lot that day. So was Naomi. So was Camila. She probably felt great about ordering up a new set of legs and teeth. They were eating their lunch at the diagnostic table while I kept on with old Bun's medical records. But really, I was studying them. There is something to the theory that opposites attract. All my life, I had wanted to have hair like Naomi's, black and silky like a raven's, not this dirty old mop. And other things too. I wanted to be dark, not fair, and curly, not straight, enigmatic, mysterious, not an open book. It wasn't that I wanted to be an Indian, but I sure wouldn't have minded being a bit more complex. As I watched Mary and Naomi and Camila sitting there, I had this overwhelming urge to hug each one of them, to engulf them, as if some of the good things might rub off them onto me, and vice versa. I'd learned their customs and they'd learn mine, about my Highland dancing being Scottish and Robbie Burns' poetry, and we'd all get on like a house afire. And when I caught Naomi's eye, and she smiled at me, I remember thinking she was going to be just like my little sister. Hey, move over, Naomi. How about letting me try some of that back? I went to see the chief. This is a real honor, sir. Chief Red Sky. I've never met an Indian chief before. I guess I expected you to be older, kind of like Dan George. Where did you get those topaz rings? God, they're so beautiful. I love it here. It's beautiful. The air smells so fresh, and the birds and the wildflowers. He'd already heard about my order for artificial limbs and false teeth. Oh, heavens, they'll show up. I ordered them through Northern Medical Services. They promised them within 4 to 6 weeks. Unlike most Indians, the chief had eyes which looked into yours, sort of drew you in and then pushed you away again. Maybe that's why he got to be chief. Told me it was getting harder and harder to eat well and stay healthy at Snake Lake, that the fish were full of chemicals from the paper plant up the river, that the wild rice didn't grow anymore since the government put in the hydro dam, that it was hard to keep your kids clean when there wasn't enough money for proper sewage, and that, hey, excuse me, Chief, but I know about all the problems. I learned it all at orientation week. I want to talk about solutions. I've been thinking about an exercise club for women to improve their self-image. Women always need to improve their self-image. And a good food club to work on our eating habits now that fish and wild rice is sort of blown out of the water. We'll draw up a list and get Mr. Ramsey to start stocking more nutritional foods. I mean, I've taken a look at his store, and clean peaches and red hots are all right, but a little goes a long way. And at orientation, I heard that your drug and alcohol abuse committee has kind of lost direction. So I want to join that and add some life to it. And as for the teenagers, well, they just don't have anything to do. When I was that age, I had gone crazy without Cam. If we could get a drop-in center happening at the high school, do arts and crafts, show movies. I'm 21, sir. I guess you're thinking I'm kind of young and inexperienced, but I like to think that I have a fresh, new outlook. Mr. Chief Red Sky, I know there are some really serious problems here, but look at me. I mean, I managed to scrape through nursing school, and I'm no Einstein. And I've been dieting for 10 years so I wouldn't look like an elephant leaping about in my kilt during dance competitions. I mean, things can get better, can't they? Well, can't they? Whites. That's such a funny expression, isn't it? Whites. Because we're not really white, are we? We're sort of pink and beige. The whites at Snake Lake, dressed in Saturday at the laundromat clothes 7 days a week. And they marched purposefully about from store to dock to canteen to church to teacherage. Hiya, Janie, how's my you? How's she going, Ray? Taking her easy, are you? Pushing the Indians off the road as they barreled from place to place and always visiting. No, checking on one another. Lorraine lived in the teacherage, a pink townhouse complex built, as she said, to lure teachers to the north. Wall-to-wall carpets, central heating, glass doors on the shower stall, wrought iron banisters, cathedral ceilings. But according to Lorraine, they were cold in the winter and not bright enough. They needed cupboard space, skylights, more this, more that. I would have sold my soul to the devil to live in one of those units. I'd hang spider plants and wandering Jews from the ceiling. And I'd swish up and down the broad loom staircase in my velour robe. Who needs skylights? You're gonna kill yourself, and then what'll they do for a nurse? Lorraine came by for a visit, with her canister of gin gimlets, watching me puff my way through my Raquel Welch dancercises, filling me in on the Snake Lake gossip about the legendary teacher, Anadora. Apparently, Anadora did it with anything that wore pants. Every Friday night, she'd make up a batch of tarts, then bell them over to Randy to come help her eat them. By 10 o'clock at night, they'd be rip-roaring drunk, full of tarts, and chasing the cat up and down the redwood staircase. Anadora laughed backwards like a donkey. And as the evening wore on, her laughter rose higher and higher, so it kept the whole reserve awake. You'd think that would have been enough reason to fire old Anadora, but in fact, what did it was something else. Anadora started inviting Indian boys over after school. That's when Joe Red Sky told Education Services they didn't want Anadora teaching their children anymore. In fact, the Indians actually carried Anadora down to the dock and shoved her on the plane. Goodbye, Anadora. Lorraine said she got hooked on brown meat. That Indian men were different than white men, that they smelled different, that their skin was warmer, that they were better in bed. I knew she was just trying to shock me. So I kept on doing my exercises all the harder. My face to the wall. Got a boyfriend, honey? She actually called me honey. No, but I'm keeping myself in shape in the event that someone comes along. You gotta make do with what you can get around here. I got a little thing going with the Mountie stationed up in Sioux Falls. About Thursday, I start praying for hunting accidents and drownings. So we'll come in for the weekend to investigate. Rest of the time I make do with Ray the bootlegger. Keeps me in gin. You mean Ray the pilot, Ray? None other. He was probably carrying booze the day I arrived, not antiseptic and Royal Mail. So much for living out one's dreams. Lorraine in her mountains, Ray and Andorra. And then Ramsey. When I went to visit Ramsey about stocking brown rice and fresh vegetables, hard working on an Indian reserve. Friends down south forget you. Your magazines never come. People hear every word you say on the radio phone, so you can't be intimate with someone a long way away. People talk about you, laugh at you. Gets to the point you think even the ravens are laughing at you. And when that happens, you come and see me. Old Rams give you a shot of stamina. Thanks, but no thanks. What were all those people doing at Snake Lake? Not exactly the type you'd invite home for Sunday dinner. Not exactly sparkling representatives of our culture. They were there because they didn't fit anywhere else. But they'd be the last to admit it. Lorraine said she didn't much like Indians because they were broken people. But not to worry because they didn't like us much either. Well, what's there to like, I wanted to ask. If all you're getting is the leftovers, how do you know whether you'd enjoy the meal? I was determined not to be like them. Culture. At orientation, we spent the whole afternoon on culture. Miss Jackson told us that going from white culture to Indian culture is like going from your office room to your fruit cellar. She said that cultures are all about imaginings. For instance, she said, when an Indian person looks out on a lake, they imagine shaking tents and spirit visions and canoes filled with braves moving silently across the water, thunderbirds circling overhead. Whereas when a white person looks out on the lake, they imagine something different. When I looked out on Snake Lake, I imagined hundreds of bodies lying elbow to elbow on sandy towels, sailboats and air mattresses bobbing, tiny voices emerging from sandy radios. Culture. Norma Redberg lived with her parents, her brother, her wrinkled old grandmother, and 5 assorted others in a white frame shack the size of my kitchen nook and living room combined. Part of my culture was to feel uncomfortable about barging into someone else's house uninvited, but that was part of my job. So I swallowed hard and... Hi, Norma. How's the new mom? I'm just here to check on you and the baby. What are you doing inside on a beautiful day like today? This is an Indian summer. I've heard about your winters that last from October to May. You and little Dolores should be outside getting some fresh air and exercise while you still can. Watching Let's Make a Deal reruns is what they were doing. All of them, including the 5-day-old infant. Baby looks good. Alert. Curious. Oh, that's a cute top she's wearing. She could use some eye drops, though. Why don't you bring her in this week and I'll give her a thorough checkup? A huge piece of frozen meat thawing on the floor in front of the TV. Monty Hall telling jokes to two women from South Dakota dressed up as chickens. Me in my nurse's uniform, yakking away about cute tops and eye drops. How did I feel? Like a spaceship, which had landed in the middle of their living room, sending out little beeps. Spaceship rolls to Earth. I've located the Indians. What am I supposed to do now? Focus on food, highlight hygiene, win them over, make connections. Oh, so dark in here. I saw some calico at the store for $2.50 a yard. Make nice curtains for those windows. If you had any left over, you could make a tablecloth, cover up that oilcloth, really brighten up the place. What are you having for supper tonight? Oh, I'm not inviting myself over. I just saw that huge piece of meat thawing on the floor. I've never seen such a large roast. It looks so fresh, wild. But I'm trying to cut down on my meat. Have you heard of cholesterol? It's very bad for us. Very. These are some suggestions to help us all be a little less meat dependent. I'll just leave them here to help you with your meal planning. 2. To help you with your meal planning. That day at Norma Redwood's was the first day I really began wondering about a lot of things. Someone was lying, and I wasn't sure who. At orientation, Miss Jackson told us that part of Indian culture was close family ties, and that was why they lived in such cramped quarters. Bullshit. They were poor. They had no jobs. They had nothing to do all day long but watch reruns. And nothing to do tomorrow either, no prospects. I had never seen or tasted or smelled poverty before. And it scared me. At orientation, we called her Iron Heads. She always smelled like baby powder. She was no baby. She was old and wrinkled and warty. Never had any babies at all. Probably no sex at all. No babies, no sex, no bad odors. What did she know about Indians and family ties and poverty and culture? All that shit about rumpus rooms and fruit cellars and imagining? What were the Redbirds imagining? Me standing there in my sunburned nose with my Canada food guide, telling them their house was dirty and their food disgusting. Who the hell did I think I was? Saying someone has a different culture is just a polite way of saying they're weird. Not special, not privileged, not exotic, not mysterious at all. They're inferior. And therefore need to be helped. Translation, altered. So much for culture. An Indian reserve is not a 9-to-5 place, nor a September to June place. It's a hanging around place. I watched Naomi the Raven, and her silent friends wearing their bright satin jackets that said Black Sabbath and Triumph, stalking about the reserve in their blue jeans and Puma sneakers, quiet, making long-legged circular treks about the dusty roads that went nowhere. They dropped in and out of school like casual visitors. They never carried books or pencil cases. Even though Naomi was in grade 10, she still couldn't read. Mary told me that she was getting into trouble, that she was a bad girl. Oh, Mary, who isn't bad at that age? Everyone wants to be bad. So bad. I did. But I wasn't. In fact, I was still trying to be bad 6 years later, without success. So I settled for gourmet dinners with Nancy Anderson, the gym teacher, my only real friend at Snake Lake. First time I met Nancy, she was jogging along the beach in sweatpants and a t-shirt that said, "Have an Indian affair." Nancy and I were kindred spirits. She was helping me with the women's fitness program, which, after 8 weeks of promotion, still only brought out 2 women, Nancy and me. We were both on the drug and alcohol committee, trying to get some action on the reserve's bootlegging problem. Apparently Ray flew the booze in and Ramsey sold it at any hour, at any price. We had both written off the white trash at Snake Lake, and were both saving up for trips to Europe. We spent hours talking about adapters and hair dryers and Eurail passes and the Orient Express and running into Jean-Paul Belmondo on the Champs-Élysées. It passed the time. Summer was gone and the nights were getting longer and longer. There was a cold mist on the lake in the mornings when I opened the station. I felt kind of lonely, adrift. Hi, Mom. Hi. I sound far away. Well, I guess that's because I am. I sound funny? Oh, it must be the phone. No, there's nothing wrong. I just called to talk. To talk. To talk, you know, talk. Oh, yeah, great. Lots of fun. Lots of buddies. Lots of fun. Tons. I said tons. No, it's just the line. It's a radio phone. That's why it sounds so fuzzy. Gloomy. No, I'm not gloomy. Sure, put 'em on. Hi, Dad. No, it's just the line. Oh, yeah, cold. Brr. Frost in the air. How's Skippy? There was more than frost in the air. Naomi the Raven and her silent friends stopped frequenting school altogether. There was a rash of vandalism on the reserve. Nancy Anderson had her tumble mat slashed. She cried a whole evening in my trailer. Lorraine was happy. Her mountain flew in 2 weekends in a row. One night, there were gunshots outside my trailer. I lay in the dark, waiting for the end, hoping it was a nightmare that I'd wake up. But it wasn't a nightmare. It was the real thing. Somebody shot the windows out of the Catholic church. It sat there like a scared, hapless, toothless face against the cold autumn sky. What kind of people shoot the windows out of churches? I was getting discouraged about our Indians. Things didn't seem to be working out. They still seemed so far away, and yet the problems were so close. The drinking, the fights. I dreaded the weekends, the nights, the nightmares. I dreaded what I was going to see in the mornings. I dreaded it all. Except when the plane arrived. That little silver sliver of wing cutting the clouds. And it was magic every time. It became a day blessed with possibility. November 2nd. I remember because it was my birthday. And I was waiting for a present from my parents. I was on the dock waiting for my medical supplies, for my order of artificial limbs and teeth, for my winter parka, my Chatelaine magazine, maybe even for the results of my water samples. And there was a man, framed in the doorway of Ray's plane, a white man. But he was really brown. I mean, tanned. And he had the clearest robin's egg blue eyes in the northern hemisphere. I closed the nursing station an hour early so that I could rush home, take a leisurely bubble bath, wash my hair, the works. Put on my tweed slacks, my most clingy sweater, and then, fashionably late, saunter over to the community hall, where Mr. Blue Eyes was giving a talk about land claims. Why not? I was a member of the community, sort of, wasn't I? I was trying to make connections. Hi, I'm Heather Rose, the resident Florence Nightingale. I had no idea that Aboriginal rights and treaties could be so stimulating, so pressing, so, like, I really feel the need now to probe even deeper. Why don't you come home with me now and we can... No such luck. He was tied up all night long with the Indians, with velvet-eyed Camilla in her red beret tapping her wooden cane on the floor, and dozens more weathered old souls talking one after the other about the good old days before the white man. I'll be as honest as I can about this. All I wanted to do at that moment was take that particular white man home with me. Take off his clothes. And mine. And forget about land claims and Indians and hideous social conditions. But the hours ticked away. My hair went limp. And I felt embarrassed about my silly fantasies. That's all they were, fantasies. There was no connection between the romance of the North and my tired, lonely existence as a northern nurse. So, like old Bud probably did 100 times before me, I went home alone. Tried not to even think about Greek night, let alone talk about it. Nancy and I cooked up dolmades with cabbage instead of grape leaves, and pork souvlaki, and Greek salad without the feta cheese and black olives. Wearing the Greekest things we owned. Listening to Melina the Corey, planning a 400th trip to Europe. candlelight rose softly round the room. The music blocked out the endless wind outside. Suddenly, the door flew open, and there was Lorraine's big, shiny face leering at us through the candlelight. Bulgy, lurid Lorraine, and gin running red. Just come for a visit. Just come to see how we were enjoying our petite soiree. Got anything else to drink besides this horse piss? Meaning the fruit punch. What kind of a nurse are you if you don't have medication? I mean, what do you do all night long here? 2 a.m. That's a $64 question here at Snake. Play Scrabble? Play with each other? Now, why did they say that? Why did they even think that? Why did they have to destroy the only real comfort we had? Nancy left a week after that. Went back to Thunder Bay to work in a high school. Said she didn't like being away from her friends and family. Said she missed her boyfriend. She left me all her books, including a cookbook called 200 Ways to Make Hamburgers Sing. Isn't that a funny title? Sweltering in here. I gotta get some fresh air. I realized when I went out just then that I still haven't been very honest about this. It's all still a bit romanticized, polished up. I haven't got to the heart of this, and if I don't, you'll never understand. Snow. Snow white. Sometimes during the winter, my fantasies weren't very much different than my reality. I'd see a raven, or I'd dream a raven, and each evoked the same aloneness, the same gaping separateness. I'd see an Indian boy a mile out on the lake walking towards me, a boy in a red toque and a fur parka, perfectly placed in the light between the sky and the world, walking across the lake, across the bright, white desert. His legs were moving, but he never seemed to get any closer or further away. Mary Quandivans told me, that was before she stopped talking to me, that winter was a time of holding on, that the soul went underground to lie like a woman long and strayed on a bed of ice, to sleep and be restored, and then to rise up new and refreshed in the spring like a young girl. That makes winter seem like a time of peace, and it wasn't. It was a horrible onslaught. I do know something about alcohol. On New Year's Day, I joined 2 of the Snake Lake teachers in a rum toddy to welcome in the brand new year. If only I could describe how good it tasted. Hot, fiery, sensual, merry, hospitable. For the first time in my life, I felt witty. A little rough? Why not? To warm our coffins, wherever the hell they are. Leslie Walters, the new gym teacher, arrived at the end of February. I beat Lorraine over to her trailer with my bottle of Blue Nose. I desperately needed an audience. Oh, it's not a bad place, really. Unless you mind scraping the ice from your bedroom window in the mornings just to see out. What do you want to know? Heather Rose tells all. The church? The neighbors got restless one night and had a big shoot-up. I sound like Annie Oakley myself. It really does look like hell, doesn't it? I guess everyone prays in private now. I'm not exactly practicing anything. The last thing I practiced was the flute in grade 10. Run into Ramsey yet? He's part of the landscape here, like the garbage around his store. He's harmless, really, unless you got a heart and soul. What else do you want to know? The Indians, hard to know what they're thinking. Blow hot and cold like the friggin' winds. Pardon my French. They're broken people. It is really sad, given how beautiful the land is up here and all, but, like, it's not an ideal reserve, eh? Otherwise, none of us would even be here. I guess that's how you gotta look at it. Hey, lighten up! Don't look so glum. Want another drink? Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. After being witty with Leslie Walters, or just with myself, I thought I was the best audience of all. I put a towel over the bathroom mirror. Made the mornings easier. Indians. I remember when I was small, Mom told us not to talk to the men who changed buses at the corner by our school. They were Indians from Muncie Reserve who worked at the mill. I wonder if I'm prejudiced towards Indians because of that. Our next door neighbors had a daughter named Donna who studied archaeology at UBC, who married an Indian. I remember Donna's father talking to my dad in our backyard. I was under a picnic table. He was crying and he was drinking. I remember him saying that digging bones with Donna was one thing, but he sure as hell didn't want one of them flamed. Where is Miss Jackson? This was just like it was up there. Nobody to tell things to help straighten things out. I needed help. I did. Heather Rose. I planned on talking to the fly-in shrink when he came to see the Snake Lake crazies. Tell him about drinking, how I was losing my temper in front of the patients, the missed days at work. Dr. Allen, I rehearsed this. I'm finding the isolation here sort of getting to me. But after Mabel Turtle told him about her husband appearing in a vision, and Albert Loon describing the animals running around inside his head, and all of us sitting on orange plastic chairs around the great white doctor, and the wind howling outside, and the windows like teeth rattling, and the room spinning, all I could do was excuse myself and run out of the room, just in time to get to the bathroom. What did he know about those people? About spirits on Snake Lake, and visions, and animals running around inside your head, and long nights and dark days, and crying jags and ravens that laugh at you, and freeze up and no mail and what the hell did he know? All those fucking high-paid whites coming through to help the Indians. Not little me. Flying in and out, in and out, in and out. Consulting on this, consulting on that, flashing their $1 million smiles. Talking about the reserve from plane to band office to community hall to plane. With their Indian friends, being helpful and advisory, then back in the air. Once-month-old Blue Eyes came and went. His tan always the same. Perfect. Probably used a sun lamp. Probably gets skin cancer. Probably plays squash. Tells women in satin shorts about his latest junket to desolate Indian reserves. About what losers we all were. There was no help for me, except my rum toddies. Want another one? Don't mind if I do. Unlocked. It was only for half an hour, but I yelled at her anyway, in front of her daughter Naomi, and called her stupid. Oh, God. Mary, answer me. I'm the nurse here. You're supposed to be helping me. Camilla Lill was holding a sit-in, an occupation. She was going to occupy the nursing station till her new leg and teeth arrived. She'd been waiting 8 months and she was tired of waiting. She was going to sit right there on that orange chair as a reminder that she had been depending on me. Jesus Christ, I was angry. That's right, angry. Was it my fault that her new leg got shipped to a bush camp by mistake? And that by the time it got back, it wasn't fit for a moose to strap on? Or that her second leg got waterlogged sitting in a leaky warehouse? Or that it was the department's policy that they could only get new legs every 4 years, so they wouldn't be filling out orders every time an Indian got drunk and dropped. Hey, I didn't make the rules. Was it my fault that the goddamn plane took the leg to the wrong place? That half the time the plane couldn't land because of the wind? That things got lost in snowstorms and landing strips and alcoholic blackouts? That pilots forgot shifts? Or their windshield wipers didn't work, or they couldn't take off, or they didn't care enough to? So, you think you're going to occupy the nursing station? Well, it is my nursing station. My orange chairs that you stick your bazooka gun on. My tile floors that you spill your ice cream sandwiches on. I changed the toilet paper in the washroom. Scrub the waiting room at the end of the day after dozens of you have sat with your big snowmobile boots and silent dark eyes waiting for service. Well, if I was going to service them, they were going to have to take what I had to dish out. You know what really bothers me about you people? You expect me to stitch you up, to give you pills, send you out to hospitals, wipe your bloody noses, and I have never once heard anyone say what you're supposed to say when someone does something nice for you. What do you say? You say, thank you, Miss Rose. To just once hear, thank you, Miss Rose, would be music to my ears. But instead I get silence, dark eyes, secrets. Why is that? I never know what you're thinking. Never know what you really want from me. Should I stand on my hands? Tell jokes? Disappear? Are you glad, mad, sad when you see me? Do you like me, hate me, laugh at me, pity me, blame me? Answer me! You know what I think you are? I think you're all snobs. Yes, snobs! You think you're the only ones with a goddamn history. Whenever I've tried to talk about my life, about being Scottish, about things my granny told me, little stories or some beliefs, whenever I've tried to share my life, nobody gives a good goddamn about me. And you never look at me. Look at me! You watch me, but you don't look at me. And you talk about me, don't you? I've been talking to your chief. He came to see me. Told me he'd heard about problems with the new nurse. New. That's a laugh. I feel about as new as the frozen dog shit around this place. You never come right out and say things, do you? Never let things really pour out like we do. We whites. It's all indirect with you. Well, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this goldfish bowl, big brother, sister, aunt, uncle watching me, judging me as if I've done something wrong, as if I'm responsible for the pitiful state of your lives. Jesus. When in fact, I have had the charity and decency to try and help you people. And I told your chief that. And I told him that I didn't want to see the next sad-eyed, dark-skinned Indian come through that door. I told him that I wanted to see a smiling, bouncing, lacy, blonde-haired, pregnant white woman who'd yak away about how her baby was kicking inside and all the cute clothes she was buying. And you know what else I told him? I told him that if he didn't like the quality of my nursing care, he could kiss my ass. And that goes for the rest of you. I became attached to a particular label on a bottle of white rum. Perfect picture of a perfect ship on a perfect horizon. What I especially liked was the way the sky lit up in the background. That was one of the redeeming graces at Snake Lake in the winter. The sky and the ravens. I spent 2 weeks drawing ravens. To hell with nursing. Black ink on thick white medical services paper. White. Like the whiteness all around me. Ramsey came by. Like a mongrel dog caught wind of a scent. Just for a visit, he said. Looked at me, at my bottle, and he laughed. No, he snorted. That's not a fucking ship, he said. That's an eye. That's the iris of a blue-eyed woman. Took off his snowmobile suit, and he asked me to sit on his lap. And he kissed me. Said he brought me some stamina. And we partied for 2 weeks. I didn't go near the nursing station for 2 weeks. Sickly. The onslaught. The North has always fascinated me. ever since I was very, very young. It's wildness. It's mystery. Land of the silver birch, home of the beaver, where the silvery moons wander that will. Who the hell is Will? Ramsey would say, I'd laugh every time. The lakes and rocky shores, I will return once more. Boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom. And so it would go. Me telling him about our house on Highland Crescent with the gray shutters, and the Queen Anne's lace on the trellis, and the dance competitions at the Tam O'Shanter, and him telling me about eating lard sandwiches in Timmins. And then we'd flip on The Edge of Night and watch Mrs. Turner get leukemia. And her husband get caught in a homosexual roundup in some subway men's room. Want to see me dance, perhaps? Don't laugh, ignorant pig. Colleen Stewart and I won the junior girls for that dance when I was 15 years old. And my parents took us out to dinner after too. I can't remember the name of the place. How could I forget it? That was the nicest restaurant I ever went to. Hi, Mom. Hi. Yeah, hi. Yeah, hi. Sure, put him on the extension. The more the merrier. Listen, the reason I'm calling is because I can't remember the name of that restaurant we went to after I won the junior girls. Oh, God, of course. It was the Latin Quarter. It was the Latin Quarter. Yeah, I got someone here with me. Yeah, for dinner. What time is it? Is he male or female? Well, I guess you could call him male. So what else? Oh, I got your postcard from Malaga and the castanets. Yeah, real cute. I said cute! What the hell did you go to Malaga before anyway? Why don't you stay where you belong? Right here in Canada. You want to see colorful culture, you can come north for the weekend. See the Indians. They're poor, sick, unhappy, uneducated, fucked over. Oops. Sorry about that. Good folk opportunities. And I'm sure the storekeeper would honor all major credit cards. I sound like I've been drinking? Yeah, well I have. I've been drunk for 2 weeks now because it's too insane to stay sober. God, you sound far away. I don't know when it started happening, but I've fallen apart. Completely apart. Oh, I'll try to. I know you do. I know. I love you too. Get out. I had to get my ducks in a row. People had difficulties and then they rally. They get back on track. People think they'll never recover, and then 6 months later, they can't even remember what it was they were upset about. They pull themselves together. Hold on, Heather, get your ducks in a row. That's what Dad always said. I was pushed. That happens in the north, in winter, and 6 months later I laugh about it. I cleaned the trailer, cleaned the walls, the shower curtains, the kitchen drawers, sewed the hems, all lost buttons. People throw themselves into work. Work is supposed to get people through the rough spots. It was all still there, waiting for me. Camila was still there. Her eyes a long way away. And Mother and Grandmother still smiling at me. I had such a steady diet of nurses. Clean, healthy, competent, responsible women. How did you manage? Who cared for you? Bandaged you? Hold on, Heather. And the wind's still howling and ripping around outside the nursing station. And Anna Dora's laughter still inside my head. Hold on, Heather. The big cheese poster still up on the wall. And the T-bone steak. And the wet lettuce. And a dozen messages from Miss Jackson. Like little pink petals all over my desk. Hello, Miss Jackson. Heather Rose. Just fine. 110%. Just catching up on my paperwork. I see that you've been calling, but I've had the flu. A bug, some kind of a bug. I'm all right now, though, really. The chief called you? No, I'm all right, really. I've got my ducks in a row. I was derailed temporarily, but now I'm back on track. Jesus Christ, I said back on track! Why the hell can't they get decent phones in the north? You what? You want me to come out? No, I'm not coming out. I'm staying right here. I've got a job to do here, and I'm going to do it. There's no question these people need medical attention, no question at all. I've got 5 vaccinations to do this week, and there's always lots of business on the weekends. I don't care who you talk to. I won't. I can't. Go back to what? There's nothing for me to go back to now. It's all distorted, twisted. Do you think you are God? Parachuting little people hither and yon and then scooping them out again whenever you please? It makes them crazy. Miss Jackson. There's an old woman here with a wooden leg, and I've got to make hot meals for her. There's an ancient Indian here with a wooden leg occupying the nursing station, and Nurse Rose is going to join her. Breakup. The breaking up of winter. That winter that I thought would never end. Breakup. That's what they call it when winter finally ends, because the ice on the lake breaks up into 100 million ice cubes. Outside, the sound of drums coming from the community hall. There was a powwow going on. Coming through winter festival. Darkness everywhere. Dark except for the flashlights going back and forth, back and forth in the darkness. And the glow from the community hall. When I looked out into the darkness, there was a glare from the window, and I looked different. Looked like a photograph of me, only as an old woman. This is how they do it. Like this. They brought Naomi in. Found her in the corner of the bathroom at the community hall. Yellow fluid all over her face. A beautiful face. Wearing her red satin jacket. Her mother behind carrying her navy blue mitts. Oh, Naomi. What have you gone and done? At orientation, I learned all about this, but not the horror. Naomi, wake up. Say something if you can hear me. Talk. Look, your mother and Camila are here. Talk! And I was shouting her name over and over again and slapping her face. Naomi, hey! Hey! It's good to talk. I always talk when I'm having trouble. That's what I do. Talk. Talk. What did you do this morning before you... Hey! She was floating in another world. What do you want to do when you grow up? When you finish high school? Naomi? She was drowning. But you're in love, aren't you, Naomi? With Clarence Loon? I know because I've seen you holding hands with him. Think of him, of Clarence. Live for him. Live for me. Please, Naomi. Her eyes were closing. No. I demand you open your eyes, damn it. Open them! It's spring. You're supposed to rise up. Rise up! It's your legend! You're not allowed to die. To give up. You can't do that. You've got to survive. We've got to survive. That's all that matters. Naomi's heart stopped. Jackson's not coming. But what did I think would happen here? That I'd be able to unload all this? We can't. It's inside me now. Camila Loon's leg arrived on the same plane that I left on, but not her false teeth. And that's about it, I guess. The occupation of Heather Rose.